Excellent.
And we would meet there, and so the meeting would start at 12, and the meeting would officially start at 12:30. So we get there at 12. It does allow for people to be a couple minutes late. So, you know, you're going to have, and this sounds like trivia, but it gives time for the waiter to come take people's order, because you don't want that going on during the meeting. And everybody to socialize a little bit. Then the meeting starts at 12:30, and then in our group we had 6 people, and so we each got 20-minute turns.
Excellent.
You want to catch up and then I'll...
Entonces, muy interesante, está hablando de cómo organizar un grupo y a dónde se juntan. Y entonces hay diferentes formas que está compartiendo, y Bill dice que estaba en grupos que cada vez podemos juntarnos en la casa diferente de cada persona en el grupo. Entonces eso es una forma. Y otra forma que parece muy interesante también es que se juntan en un restaurante. Y en el restaurante hacen un arreglo con los dueños del restaurante, que les vamos a juntar aquí una vez por mes, lo que sea. A lo mejor tienen un cuarto separado o una mesa que está más solo. Y dicen, vamos a juntarnos a las 12, pero oficialmente piensa a las 12:30. Y eso da tiempo para que todos se sienten, dicen hola, si alguien llega un poco tarde está bien. Y también que el mozo viene y toma el orden de cada persona para que todo eso no interrumpe. Y después cuando piensa la sesión, cada persona tiene 20 minutos. You said it was 6 people at the time? So, había 6 personas en este grupo y cada persona hablaba por 20 minutos sobre la tema. And so when everybody has 20 minutes, does the meeting start with a certain theme and then everybody shares around that, or is it just...
It's your agenda, and we use a little kitchen timer.
Okay.
And it looks like a little hourglass. And it's set for 20 minutes, and so it's set so everybody can see it. And during the 20 minutes, however you want to spend it, you could talk for 2 minutes and say, I need feedback on this, and then take answers. And like one thing I would do if I'm launching a new website, I might have a sales letter that I want to get reviewed. So I would print copies for everyone in the group and bring them and hand them out and say, during my time, I just want to get feedback on the sales letter, and if you would, take out your little red pen and just mark.
Oh, cool.
And I'd get headline ideas, and there's a typo here.
Okay.
And we'd spend 20 minutes reviewing my sales letter.
Interesting. Entonces esto es muy interesante. Entonces lo que tienen es un reloj grande y visible que se puede poner en la mesa. Entonces cada persona tiene 20 minutos. Y yo pregunté entonces cómo se organiza la conversación. Y lo que dice Bill es que cada persona es dueño de sus 20 minutos. Entonces, y si estás juntando un grupo de internet marketing, a lo mejor Bill tiene una carta de ventas que escribió que es nuevo. Entonces él puede decir, mira, acá está la carta de ventas, lo puede pasar a todos y lo puede dar cada uno un lápiz rojo. Dice, mira, solamente por mis 20 minutos yo quiero que cada uno lee esta carta y escribe su opinión y las cosas y corrige como ellos piensan. Entonces cada uno tiene sus 20 minutos y es dueño de ese tiempo. Es muy interesante. So everybody's owner of their 20 minutes, and there's a nice, fair, visible way to manage the time.
And you know, when I've facilitated groups, one thing I do is, and you could do this in your group, is you have one person taking notes. If I'm the facilitator, that's me. And as we go around the room, I would say, okay, Joe, last week you mentioned that you were going to get you're going to have the rough draft of your book done, or you're going to have chapter 1 done by last week. How's that going for you?
So it's the accountability part.
Right, and then they would respond to that, and then they would take their turn, and at the end I would come back and go, okay, what's your goal for next week? By next week, I'm going to have chapter 2 done.
Excellent.
And then we would go from there. So just another twist you can use.
And the facilitators usually has that responsibility, or the group in general?
The facilitator,
just
if you have one, they do it. But you could have someone, and you could, with leadership could be rotated, and someone could be in charge of keeping time and the minutes. If you want to do that, it is nice if you feel you need that accountability factor to include it.
Bueno. Entonces otra cosa que es muy valioso del grupo es que es que, y si como dijo, si Joe está en el grupo y Joe dice, mira, en el próximo sitio que tenemos, yo voy a tener mi primer capítulo terminado. Entonces, el que está manejando el grupo ese día, o a lo mejor la última persona que tomó notas durante la cita, puede decir, ok, Joe, la última vez tú dijiste que ibas a tener capítulo 1 y yo puedo decir sí, lo tengo o no lo tengo, o lo que sea, pero así ayuda a cada uno a mantenerse al día y también puedes declarar tu objetivo para la próxima cita. Entonces, so you're accountable for what you said last time. You could also declare what you're going to do for the next session, and it keeps the fluid going, the fluidity.
And here's a tough one for some people, is when that 20 minutes or 10 minutes, however you have it organized, when your time's up, when the little beeper goes off, that's it, you stop.
No matter
if someone's talking, finish the sentence, but don't take it any further. You will not resolve every problem in that turn.
Right.
But you have to stop.
Very good point. Entonces, también para organizar la cita, ese 20 minutos o 10 minutos, tú puedes, depende de cuánta gente hay en el grupo, tú puedes decir cuánto tiempo tiene cada persona, depende de cuánto tiempo quieres dedicar. Pero cuando el reloj suena, que esos 20 minutos ya pasaron, se tiene que respetar el reloj. Si alguien está hablando, que termine lo que está diciendo, pero no es posible resolver todas las cosas en cada cita. Entonces, tomar una nota, pero respetar el reloj y pasa a la próxima persona. So this is, again, just etiquette.
Yeah, and everybody's reluctant. Nobody wants to be the one to go, hey, quit talking.
Right.
And so the funny thing is about managing time is I find that people are really conscious of their time most of the time when it's their turn. Where you have to watch is when people are giving feedback.
I see. Interesting.
And they're not thinking then, they're on a roll, they're trying to be helpful.
Right.
You want to give everybody time to give feedback and realize you're not going to be able to finish, you're not going to create a business plan in 10 minutes.
Right.
Someone might say, I've got an idea for a business, what do you think about this?
Right.
It's going to be hard.
Right.
But you have to respect that because it's important that attendance and being on time is huge. And if meetings start to run long because of that, I mean, next thing you know, suddenly your meeting's taking 4 hours and people are going, I love those meetings.
Right.
But, I was late to my thing and I can't keep going.
Right. Entonces, más consejo sobre respetar el tiempo, que muchas veces lo que pasa es la persona que está hablando, que si es mi 20 minutos, en general yo voy a respetar el tiempo porque yo estoy consciente que yo estoy hablando, pero lo que se tiene que tener cuidado es la gente que te está dando respuesta, porque Bill me quiere ayudar a mí y toda la otra gente quiere ayudar, entonces cada uno quiere hablar sobre el tema que yo hice, pero entonces la mayoría del tiempo se tiene que proteger no la persona que está hablando, que es mi 20 minutos, pero las personas que quieren ayudar. Entonces también es algo muy interesante para tener cuidado y también si las citas se van muy largas y si cada vez que se juntan iba a ser 2 horas y de repente son 4, cada persona antes que van a regresar para el próximo va a pensar, bueno, yo no sé, me gustan esas citas, pero la última vez estaba tarde a cenar con mi esposa, lo que sea, y a lo mejor no me conviene, entonces puede romper el ritmo y también la armonía del grupo. So yeah, the time could be a big influence, again, but getting back to the harmony, that if you don't protect it, it can get out of whack and then people don't resonate with the feeling of the group. So this is all great, valuable information. And very timely since we're starting a mastermind group in the Spanish market. Estoy diciendo que esto es información que tiene mucho valor y personalmente porque estamos formando un grupo de mastermind sobre las personas que están en internet marketing en el mundo español. Entonces esto es muy interesante. Any final words on this that you want to share, or maybe anything about the future? I mean, this seems to have been a very in Spanish you say exitoso, but a very successful book and a very well-known book. Any final words on that, or anything about next steps, or where you going?
Next step for me is I was sitting and I was invited by one of my clients who was telling me about an internet television network that was being started. And they invited me to come up to the studio and they talked to me about hosting a show, internet marketing. And I went up to the show and I was in the studio. I was very impressed by the studio. But they started talking about this mastermind they were going to do. in San Francisco with 52 people.
Wow.
Now you've heard my recommendation,
right,
5 or 6 people.
right.
So I was like, well, tell me about it. Oh, I said, how are you going to do a mastermind? 50 people.
Right.
And they were talking about this technique that they were using.